Hi everyone, Quiveen here from the comfort of my kitchen. In today's video, we are going to be looking at some galaxies. We're going to be looking at some galaxies that are well placed to be seen at this particular time of the year. So we're looking at the middle of, well, we're looking now at late May. Middle of May to late May, the full moon is on the 12th this month. So we want the full moon to be out of the sky. We want the moon to be out of the way early in the evening. We can see Arcturus there, nice and bright, pretty much due south, and the blue star Spica just underneath it. Over here towards the southwest, we have the tail of Leo, and this region of the sky is filled with galaxies. There's loads of galaxies that aren't too far away from us over in this direction. So if you have a telescope, this is a great area of the sky to point it to take a closer look. So we're just zoomed in a little bit here and we're already starting to see these fuzzy shapes from the city. So we're going to take a closer look here from the city. We can see some of those beautiful groups of galaxies, many galaxies that to us here on Earth at least appear close together. Some of these galaxies are genuinely close together, some of them are sort of one behind another, but a lot of them are in the this is the Virgo cluster. The local group is in the Virgo cluster. So this cluster of galaxies, it forms a group with our little cluster of galaxies, the Andromeda galaxy, the Milky Way, and the Triangulum galaxy. So the Milky Way, Andromeda, and Triangulum, they're our closest neighbours. That's our little group. But then we're part of a larger group with these galaxies that we can see here in Virgo. So if we bring up the object labels, because this makes it a lot easier to select these galaxies, we'll select the Virgo galaxy here as an example. Yeah, it's a nice bright galaxy. A lot of these galaxies are elliptical galaxies. So you can see the E there for elliptical or lenticular, depending on the shape. These galaxies are often a little indistinct. So we're looking there with pretty much the smallest telescope possible. Add on a couple of Barlow lenses to the smallest telescope. I do believe the smallest telescope. Yeah, this is a camera lens, so not even a telescope. The smallest telescope that Stellarium will allow us to simulate. And there is the Virgo galaxy, nice and clear. And this region of the sky, yeah, there's more galaxies. This is Markarian's chain. So they're a group of galaxies that almost form this line in the sky that we can see here. There's the Virgo galaxy again. We'll move a little bit over to the west. There's M89, massive galaxy, very, very clear. We can see another fuzzy galaxy there, a little bit indistinct, but this is with the smallest telescope that Stellarium will simulate, and it's our view from the city. If we step it up a little bit to a slightly larger telescope, we'll go with a C8. C8's great. There's M59, very, very bright, and we can even see the shapes of some of these galaxies here. That's an edge-on spiral galaxy, or at least it's nearly edge-on. We are after zooming in quite a lot here, so it is well worth zooming back out, making sure that we're looking in the right direction, and then zooming in when we know what we're pointing at. So we can see there the lenticular galaxy and the spiral structure of its neighbour. Moving along here, it's risky, it's easy to sort of get lost if you just move your view along the sky like this, but this area of the sky is so rich and so full of galaxies, you'll often see a few galaxies close together like that, you know, even there, barely visible as a galaxy, very, very fuzzy. And this is just that region of the sky. That region of the sky right there, the tail of Leo, the head of Virgo right in there. If we do move out into the countryside, of course, everything looks better from the countryside. The sky is going to fill up with these little object labels. And we can see here, out in the countryside, still a little bit, maybe a little bit of sunlight glow over there towards the northwest, even as we're coming up to midnight now that we're so late in May. But this portion of the sky a little bit further west, it's not going to matter too much. We're not going to have as much glow from the sun in there. So just as we're starting to zoom in, we're far enough out in the countryside now that we're going to start seeing loads and loads of galaxies get suggested to us because it's so dark. So you can see there's loads of them there. Not all of these galaxies are actually going to be visible. So we can see here There's the Lost Galaxy, the Lost Galaxy of Copeland. There was a galaxy discovered in this region of the sky, but nobody was really sure what one it was. People found it hard to find it after it was announced, so it got called the Lost Galaxy. So we can see there, M49, huge, really big, really clear galaxy. These NGC galaxies around the side, even zooming in as much as I can here, the images provided are just a little pixelated. And then there's other galaxies, like this NGC one here, which don't have an image at all in Stellarium, or at least I haven't downloaded an image for them. So those galaxies, they are going to be out of reach, out of view, to even quite a good telescope. But here we are. C8 and the Lost Galaxy of Copeland looks fantastic with those extra Barlow lenses. And it's a distant enough galaxy that you can go up to quite a powerful telescope and it doesn't sort of overwhelm your view. So I believe that is the largest telescope that Stellarium will simulate. And for nearby galaxies like the Andromeda Galaxy, this is overkill. But for some of these galaxies in the Virgo Cluster, in this region of the sky, you need a telescope that big to really see the galaxies clearly. So here we go with this massive telescope. The Virgo Galaxy really dominates the view of the telescope, but you can see some smaller galaxies there down at the side. We can see another lenticular, I believe, possibly elliptical galaxy. Yeah, so ESO, these letter guides here, they tell you a little bit about the shape of the galaxy. So the E is normally for elliptical. There's a few different groupings of elliptical galaxies, depending a lot on their size. I think this one, this is an 11, which I don't recognize, but I assume, or it's probably a 1. That 1 maybe, for a spiral galaxy. There's 1 and 2 and 2 for these different kinds of spiraling, degrees of spiral, barred spirals, lots of different shapes of galaxies, and quite a few of them visible out here. So we'll get rid of the ocular. You now have a good idea of what these galaxies look like through, certain powers of telescope. Here's an edge-on galaxy. You can see there it's a -2, and here is another. This is an SB, so this is a smaller galaxy. I'll try and find some other shapes of spiral galaxy here. Here it's 3. It's a sort of a messy spiral galaxy. It's very hard to see the arms. They're not very clearly defined. As we click around here, you can see there's another 1 for more of a normal spiral galaxy, even though that spiral galaxy is probably quite close to edge on and difficult to see detail in. Ooh, there's an interacting galaxy. So interacting galaxies, when two spiral galaxies get close together, they start distorting each other's shapes. So it's hard to see exactly what shapes are going on here, but neither of those galaxies, based on their classification as interacting galaxies, neither of those galaxies are going to really preserve the original spiral shape that they probably had. So we can see here some of the galaxies in Markarian's chain, as there's E1, E3, different degrees of ellipsoidness. 2 there is a kind of spiral. The eyes might be, they're down as 2 as well, but they look very strange. They look very strange to me. Might just be the quality of the photograph. We can see continuing on Markarian's chain there, we've got some interacting galaxies that are closer together, and these are interacting galaxies that are also elliptical galaxies. So these are already quite large galaxies coming together and getting larger. We can see there the 2 for a more traditional spiral galaxy. Even though I can't see the details here, the numbers, these different numbers at the side, they tell us a little bit about what shape that galaxy would be if we could see it a little bit better. And we can see that a lot of these galaxies have Messier numbers, M88 there. That's an amazing looking galaxy, really blue, lots of new stars being formed. Here is a definite, okay, so SB must be for spiral bar, because M91 here, clearly a barred spiral galaxy. We can see that line going across the middle, very different from the sort of tight spiral, or the spiral from the middle that we normally see. Here's another one, the Umbrella Galaxy. Not sure if this one has a Messier number. It doesn't. So this one's probably a little bit harder to see, a little bit further away. But this region of the sky, we could keep looking at galaxies here for quite a while. There are just galaxy after galaxy, and we can see some of them. Here's another beautiful edge-on spiral galaxy, the Silver Streak Galaxy, because it's edge-on. The richness of this portion of the sky Of course, this is where we have discovered a lot of these things, but it's pretty unrivaled. It's pretty hard to look at any other part of the sky and see that many galaxies. And we want to look at this part of the sky when it's up in darkness. We want to look at this part of the sky normally when it's up early enough at night. You know, we're only here at midnight. It's not 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. For these distant objects, you really want to look at them when the moon is out of the way. And ideally, you do want to see them from the countryside. But if, you know, cast your memory back to just the beginning of the video, if you are in the city, you can still see a lot of the larger galaxies. Virgo's galaxy, for example, those are visible even from the city as long as you have a telescope. Of course, you need a telescope for all of these things, but from a dark sky, a big field of view can really show you some amazing things in this particular region. So we'll go back down to a smaller telescope because a big field of view can actually be quite good for this region of the sky. Not too big of a field of view, we don't want to lose all the detail, but we'll get rid of those awkward labels. And there we go. We can see how many galaxies are visible out in that portion of the sky, as long as you're looking in roughly the right place. And as I mentioned, when you're zoomed in like this, it's easy to kind of get lost. So it's good to, you know, zoom out, use something of lower magnification, double check your position relative to these stars like the Nebula and the Diametrix, and then zoom back in. So just some of the galaxies that are out there in the direction of Virgo. It happens to be a great time of year to go to look at them. So if you get the chance, take it. If you get the chance to see these galaxies, take a look at them. I hope that you enjoyed seeing them here. If you did, please do like this video. And if you enjoyed this kind of content, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can also take a look at my website, queebeanscontent.ie, where you can read some of this information. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you back here next time.